How's everybody doing? Good. I love this. This is nice and brightly lit. The energy coming to me right now is just like off the charts. This is actually very dimly lit, and I feel like I'm talking in like my basement, which is cool because there's a bunch of computers here. Have any of you ever heard me public speak?
No, I have not.
One? Is that your voice?
That was my voice.
Are we just, okay. We're having a conversation. I just like it stuck out when you said that. So, one person, two people. Okay. So, as Carla said, I'm a local entrepreneur. I'm an accidental entrepreneur in that my education, by the way, I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Was educated mostly in Pennsylvania. I went to undergrad at Penn State University, graduated in 1998, went to Villanova for graduate school, where I got a master's degree in psychology, and then in 2000, and then from 2000 through 2003, I went to Albany Law School and graduated. But I'm an accidental entrepreneur. For that reason, sort of. I mean, if you go for 9 years post high school, you should probably use your education, right? Although I'm an internet entrepreneur, and I've never practiced psychology, and I've never practiced law for one day of my life. 1999, I got a phone call when I was at Villanova. It was my brother, my older brother, and he asked me, at the time, I was beginning to be very, very outspoken and evangelizing the internet. And how at that time, in 1999, I felt that the internet was going to really change the game. The way people communicate, the way people shop, the way people retrieve information. As I say these things, you're probably thinking of companies like Facebook and Google and others who've really disrupted our economy and disrupted our ability to learn, our ability to communicate, and all those other fun things. So because I was such an evangelist, my brother called and said, hey, why don't we start an internet business? And at the time I was studying psychology and was in debt, about $68,000, not from school, but from day trading in the stock market. Interesting. Didn't like being in debt. I had set a goal to be a millionaire by the time I was 30, which was ambitious, but it felt real to me. So when Rick called me, I thought it might make sense to take him up on this idea of starting an internet business. The idea was to take a gourmet food product that my grandmother made for us when we were children called pepper jam and turn it into an online business. So to create a brand, to sell the product online, and to ultimately become a successful entrepreneur. My role in the company at that point was to market the product online. My brother had no prior experience as it related to the internet. He just was either, on one hand, either really excited because all I wanted to talk about was the internet, or he was sick and tired of me talking about the internet, so he's like, you take this role in the company. So I learned everything I could about the internet. Total self-education here. While I was well educated up to that point, everything that I learned early on was from just me being obsessed with how do you build a business online? How do you generate traffic and monetize traffic once you're able to do that online? There's only one or two of you that have heard my story in here, so I'll keep it till 90 seconds here and give you a little bit of a broader version of it. But that original idea became something, a company called Pepper Jam. And what we did early on in Pepper Jam, what I did early on in Pepper Jam, was learn how to effectively generate website traffic and then monetize that web traffic on a large scale. One of the first, and I've been public speaking for the last decade or so-ish, but my speeches early on, when I would get invited to go speak, I had turned that original idea, save the gourmet food idea for a second. What I realized really quickly was that you could build websites, and there's a whole range of strategies that you could utilize to generate web traffic. And then, depending on whether or not that web traffic's coming in free through things like search engine optimization, there was no social media at that time, there is now, or whether you're paying for that traffic through products like, at the time it was called goto.com, but today we know it as pay-per-click, Google AdWords, and that kind of thing. depending on how much traffic you could come into the website, if you're able to sell it for more than you paid for it to get there, you could make money. And I realized that early with the gourmet food business. We started selling Grandma Jones's pepper jam, which was the name of the gourmet food product. But what I realized was that while that was a really interesting opportunity, this idea of generating website traffic and monetizing the website traffic was my $1 million idea. It wasn't the gourmet food company. So I broke away from the gourmet food company in early 2000. After the company did start taking off, and it's been a successful company, but really my brother runs that. And I went off and became an internet entrepreneur while I was in law school. And I kept building websites using the strategies that I had figured out, if you will, to build websites, generate traffic to those websites, and then monetize it. So I would give this speech early in my career. And I would say that there are really three simple, fireproof ways to make a lot of money online. Number one, you've got to find something that works. Number two, you've got to replicate it. That's sort of the test phase. Yeah, this seems to work. You have to replicate it in different type of scenarios. And then three, you've got to scale it. So in the early days, I had a couple of websites, pepperjam.com, cookwarefinder.com, and a couple of others. And I realized that by focusing on certain niches, and at that time it was gourmet foods, cookware, and other things similar to that sort of gourmet theme, that worked. And I replicated, and I started to replicate it in different industries. And then by the time 2002 or 2003 came, which just so happened to be my second, third year of law school, I had probably built 500-600 sites in different themes, using similar strategies, search engine optimization, pay-per-click marketing, and other things. And so I built a great company, right? And the company was Pepper Jam. So if you guys have grown up in this area over the last 5 or 6 years, you'll know that Pepper Jam had become, and still is, one of the most successful technology companies in the history of the state of Pennsylvania, maybe the country, but certainly in northeastern Pennsylvania. I sold that company in 2009 to a publicly traded company called GSI Commerce, and then we were bought out by eBay in 2011. I was invited here to speak to you about blog monetization. I imagine that there's some value that I could add there, because I've been for a long time thinking about I've been thinking about a lot of different things, but one of the things that I've obsessed about is how do you make money online? And there's a lot of different ways of kind of looking at that, but for the purpose of this topic, we have to figure out how to generate traffic to our blogs, right, or to our websites. And then once that happens, we have to think about and evaluate what are the specific tools, really, that are available to us, to make money from that traffic. And the more, not always, but there's a very, very strong correlation between how much traffic you're able to generate and how much money you make. But I've met a lot of people over the last 10 plus years. That's not always true. On the internet, personal brand, for instance, and by personal brand I mean, what would somebody say about you when you weren't in the room? And if they would say nice things and they would say, you're an incredible, you blog? A little bit? What do you blog about? What's your first name?
Alex.
Alex. So, Alex isn't in the room right now, pretend. But I know this amazing travel blogger. I know you just started this local travel site. Her name is Alex, and she blogs on it. She loves it. She's so passionate about it. You might want to think about advertising on her website. So if you, as a buyer, as an advertiser, can make a connection with someone who's passionate and that has a personal brand around a topic that you want to get in front of, gang, what do you guys want me to call you guys? I don't want to call you like people. I mean, fellow bloggers, fellow internet people, fellow friends. I've seen this happen. I have friends and I've seen people who've made a shit ton of money by simply building an awesome personal brand and becoming very, very passionate in whatever niche it may be. And there are people out there, and this is, by the way, one of the 5 or so types that I want to share with you guys on how to make money on your blog. And it's the one that could yield the greatest residual income, continual income, and it's just simply selling placements. So selling something as it relates to either a skin of your blog, a section of your blog. Basically, once you become really passionate about a topic and you start to build an audience, I promise you, there are people out there that are willing to pay you for it. Now, in order to find those people, you actually do have to develop some entrepreneurial chops. You've got to kind of shake it out, and you've got to put on your sales cap or whatever. But trust, and you've got to be willing to come out and let people know you exist. Whether that means in the cyber world or whether that means in the real world. But the first way that you could really make money is by becoming very, very passionate about a topic and then developing a brand around it. And there's a lot of ways, and I don't have time to go into all the ways, but with social media, which is available to us, the way that I look at personal brand, it's everything you do. This isn't a room of people that know me really well, it doesn't seem, but if you did follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or any way that you could follow me, you would know. I wouldn't have had to come here today to tell you what I did this morning. Anybody in here know what I did today? You guys have been here all day, so it doesn't help. Anybody know where I was for the last week? This is great. I have absolutely no personal brand in this room, which is fine. But I was in Munich, Germany with 30, I was a speaker. I was selected as one of the top 30 internet marketers in the world, and I was speaking at something called SEO Oktoberfest. Some of my fellow speakers just so happened to be the head of monetization at Facebook, the head of internet marketing at Expedia, the head of internet marketing at Disney, and how the did I get there? It's personal brand! Because for the last 10 years, I've been willing to tell people through social media and other things what I'm doing. And it's not, I've never really asked anybody to buy my shit. Don't ever ask anybody to buy your stuff. Do you get it? It's about your passion. It's about what you're excited about. It's about who you are. It's about your interest in learning. It's about, even easier to understand, it's about your interest in adding value. That's why I got invited to Munich. And by the way, I've been to Munich before, and I get to public speak all the time. But the point is that if I've always leveraged this idea of building a personal brand. Just being a passionate guy, being someone who wants to add value. I mean, I have 3 young kids at home, and I'm standing in front of you guys here at NEPA BlogCon because one of the people I adore most that I've ever worked with, Leslie Stewart, who works at Pepper Jam, my former company, said, I'm putting this thing together. I would have driven to Philadelphia today for Leslie. I think she's got an incredible personal brand for those of you that know her. But anyway, just to stay focused, because I only have so much time, number one way, I think, to make money through your blog is by this idea of focusing on a niche, developing some entrepreneurial chops, and literally selling placements on your site to those people who want to get in front of people who like the kind of things that you talk about. That may sound very abstract. From a business standpoint, you want to have a blog, you want to take it serious from a business standpoint, so meaning that you have to create opportunities on the blog for placements. And by the way, that's not very difficult. You have to figure out, you have to devise a strategy such that you're reaching out to people who might be interested in placements on your site. So if you're in the travel space, free associating here, you know, Sundance Travel is one of the big travel places here. Tenenbaum's Travel, and by the way, I know nothing about travel, and I just gave you two people that you could reach out and set up a meeting and say, hey, I love travel. Look at my blog. I'm streaming on Twitter, I'm posting on Facebook, I've got X this, X that, and I'd love for you to be in front of me, and I'd love for my readers to hear more about your business. That's the first thing. Any questions about that? About this idea of one way of making money online through your blog is by selling placements. So in the same way that a newspaper, sells placements in their newspaper, a magazine sells placements in their magazine, you guys could do that on your blog. And by the way, the ones that are doing it, versus the ones that aren't, the ones that are doing it is because they ask. They've developed a plan. This stuff doesn't have to be like, well, how do they do it? We were just talking a couple minutes ago, and I love talking, and there's a mix of ages and stuff in this room, but I love talking to young entrepreneurs, and I love talking to high school and college age people, because they're much more impressionable. Opportunity is irrelevant until you take action on it. Who you guys become, whether you become successful, largely depends on the first step you take towards whatever goals you have. And it's a total nother speech, and maybe you guys will have the opportunity in the future to hear how passionate I am about personal development and how passionate I am about each of you having the ability to absolutely fucking crush it in anything you do. But let's get back to blog monetization. So the second way is through affiliate marketing, right? So Pepper Jam, the company that I founded, which exists in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, is owned by eBay. There are other companies, Commission Junction, Linkshare, Google Affiliate Network, Share a Sale. There's a whole number of affiliate networks out there. Here's what these are. Affiliate networks are pieces of technology that enable website owners to work on a pay-for-performance basis by posting text links, images and products on your blog, mostly embedded in your content, but they don't have to be, from advertisers who want to get in front of your readers. The difference between what I was saying to Alex, right? And affiliate marketing is that in paid placement, you're likely going to sell a fixed placement on your site, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,500 a month. With affiliate marketing, you get paid on a performance basis, right? So you assume more of the risk of the outcome. So that you won't make money unless one of your readers clicks through a banner or a text link or a product or a video or whatever way that you integrate the affiliate program into your site. But from experience, having found an affiliate network, some of our largest affiliates were bloggers, were website owners, content owners, just like you guys. There's, obviously traffic is important here, but even more important is niche. Let's just say you have a gardening blog. No, let's stick with Alex and her travel blog. I don't want to go into gardening. Any gardening bloggers in here? Okay, good. We have a travel blogger. So, Bookit.com was one of our advertisers on Pepper Jam. They're probably still there. I don't know. But, so Bookit.com would pay somewhere between 4 and 12%, depending if it's an airline or if it's a hotel booking. If someone from your website, let's just say you posted a 120 by 60 little button on the right-hand side of your site that says featured sponsors. If somebody clicked through that and went to Bookit and booked a hotel or booked a travel reservation, you would make money on it. That's affiliate marketing. As I said, the main affiliate networks are Pepper Jam Network. I think it's pepperjam.com still, or pepperjamnetwork.com, linkshare.com, cj.com, or commissionjunction.com. Are people saying bad things about me here yet? Can't wait for the after party. I should be over in the cocoon. All right. Linkshare, Share a Sale. I mean, with Pepper Jam in your backyard, and with people like Michelle Morgan, if you know Michelle, and others who are involved in NEPA BlogCon, who work for Pepper Jam and are what's called affiliate managers, meaning that they'll work with you specifically to identify advertisers on the platform that you could partner with and put on your website. Why not go with Pepper Jam? They're in your backyard. So the third way, right, is through display advertising / what's called Google AdSense. Is everybody in here familiar with what Google AdSense is? most everybody. There's a couple of, so in short, Google, everybody's heard of Google? All right. In passing, all right. So Google has a product that anyone could join. You know, I guess a website is required, though I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a rule, but nonetheless, they have a product where you place some JavaScript on your site, which, by the way, is very easy. And if you're using something like WordPress or Blogger or something, it's even easier. Place this JavaScript on your site. What that JavaScript does is it reads the text on any page where this ad is rendering, and will either display an advertisement related to your content, or something contextual related to your content, like a contextual text-based ad, like you'd see on a Google search engine on the listings. And the way you get paid on that is on a per-click basis. It's a revenue share. So if someone, and by the way, you could add value to your readers using this type of method, especially if you blog about commercial type of things. Google will recognize that in the content and display banners or text links, or not text links, but textual ads based on your content. So you could really add value. Some bloggers, you know, and I get it, I totally get it. Some bloggers feel that, well, you know, that's sort of like selling out, going down the road of trying to make money from Google. But there is, depending on sort of where you fall on that, you could make money doing that. You're limited by the amount of clicks that come through your site. So that's why I kind of prefer, unless you guys have really, really significant traffic coming into your site, I really like the idea of figuring out a paid placement strategy. I believe that anyone in this room, regardless of your traffic, could be banking at least $4,000 to $6,000 a month through a really effective placement strategy on your blog. And again, I don't care how much traffic you have. Affiliate marketing, you're going to have some traffic, and you're going to have some entrepreneurial skills to be able to integrate the two, marry the two together. If you do that, $6,000 a month is nothing. Because some of the top affiliates back when I was with Pepper Jam, I don't even think I told you guys I left Pepper Jam, but we're making serious money, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a month. When I was an affiliate back in the day, my best month was probably $400,000 to $500,000 profit in 1 month. And all I was doing was building websites, putting affiliate banners and links on them, and then sending the traffic on to the merchant and making more from that than what I paid to get the traffic there. So Google AdSense is a good supplemental tool to the placements and to the affiliate marketing as well. You could do all of these things. It doesn't have to kind of be one or the other. Any questions regarding Google?
You said they were limited to number of clicks?
So you get paid on a per-click basis. Continue to display, but you won't get paid until Alex comes to your blog and clicks on either the banner or on one of the contextual links. It's an incredibly powerful tool because it's automatic, so it automatically reads your content and generates contextually relevant ads, which means a higher click-through rate. And again, since you get paid on clicks, it's a really good tool to make some supplemental revenue. I mean, while I've met people over the years who've made a lot of money on Google AdSense, I think it's more of a good supplemental strategy. As a blogger, I wouldn't recommend it as the #1 way to make, as my, let me see here, what's the guy's name? Jeremy, what's Jeremy's last name? QuitYourDayJob.com. Jeremy, I haven't talked to him in several years, but.
Is that Shoe Money?
No, not Shoe Money, who's a friend as well, but this is Jeremy, if you go to QuitYourDayJob.com. Anyway, the point of me bringing him up was that if you want to get to that type of income, where you literally quit your day job, like Jeremy Shoemaker and John Chow and some of these guys have done, you need a good paid placement strategy as well. Like John Chow, for instance, who I know is making 6 figures a month just from paid placements. So I mean, he gets a lot of people that come to his blog, but even if nobody came, these advertisers like the people who come to it, and so he makes a lot of money. So any other questions regarding any of the things I've talked about so far? Nothing.
Yeah.
Are there any bloggers in the room? All right. Good.
What is, we need to do like a timeline of, okay, I need my blog, I'm doing all the things that you just said. At one point could you expect something coming out?
Well, again, you do have to put some, you don't have to, but my recommendation to you is that you put as much polish around this as possible. And by polish, I just mean plan. I don't necessarily mean that your blog needs to be more attractive than Alex's, because that doesn't, I mean, look at Craigslist. But, so it's about strategy. What's your strategy? When I started as an affiliate marketer, as I shared with you guys back in 1999, I had a very specific goal. That's why I said, find something that works, replicate it, scale it. My plan was to make $50 profit per month per advertiser who had an affiliate program at that time. Based on my research, there were about 2,500 affiliate programs available to me in roughly the year 2000. So scratch that down on a napkin and do the math on that. So my goal was to build 2,500 pages ultimately, or enough websites where I could promote 2,500 merchants and make $50 a month profit. So I had a plan. By the way, the websites weren't even built yet. I had a business plan to how to get there. It took me probably about 14 months, and I significantly exceeded that goal. In some cases I lost money, by the way, because I was supplementing my traffic with paid search. And in the case of paid search, you have to pony up your own money. So you best be selling whatever traffic you're buying for more than you paid for it. I'm not going to say I learned the hard way, because it was always very profitable and it was very successful. But again, getting back to my strategy to answer your question, I wanted to make $50 per merchant. I figured there were 2,500 of them. In some cases, I lost hundreds or thousands of dollars, and in others I made thousands or tens of thousands. And in some cases, I made 50, which was the goal. So think more about, what's the plan going to be? How are you going to get to whatever your goal is? You have to be clear on that. And the more specific you could be, the better. Specificity drives action. Lack of specificity, any type of obscurity, and you'll just constantly let it roll in your head. Write it down, whatever your goal is. And by the way, this is, again, that personal development speech that I'm happy to be here talking about blog monetization, but I love to fire people up about what's possible, because I grew up with nothing, and I didn't have to wait until I was 30 to become a millionaire. And by the way, being a millionaire is totally fucking overrated, but it was a fun goal to achieve at like 22 or 23. So any of us in this room, like if you saw the left-hand side of the blue double block that I grew up in, you would never believe the home that I live in now. And by the way, even the home that I live in now is overrated. So it's about, I think I was sharing this with somebody. I was 3 weeks ago, I'm an investor, and one of the companies that I invested in got to present in San Francisco on one of the most remarkable stages for early stage tech companies called TechCrunch Disrupt. And they were in something called Startup Battlefield. And about an hour and a half before they went on the stage, there was this guy, I can't recall his name, he founded a small little social network called Facebook. It was Mark Zuckerberg. He was on stage, and Michael Arrington said to Mark, because if you guys have followed Facebook, they went public about 4 or 5 months ago. The stock has literally fallen off a cliff. What was the most beloved company in the world is now like everybody's joke. And he said to Mark, Michael Arrington said to Mark, are you happy? And I'm sitting in the 5th row, and I'm like, fucking great question. I mean, this guy is 20, whatever he is now, 27, 28-year-old CEO of a $25, $35 billion company, maybe more. And Mark said, I've been thinking a lot about that. And And here's what I realized. It's not about happiness. It's about mission. If you think about that, life's tough. There are going to be some days when you're happy. There are going to be some days when you're not. But if who you become is dependent on that, like your reality, your future is like, I'm having a good day, you need to fucking figure out how to crush it every single day of your life, right? And you only do that through goal setting, by over time believing and developing muscles around what you think is possible for your own life. That's usually how I public speak. I public speak from the hip, especially in my hometown. But I know you guys want to learn some more ways of making money through blogs. Any other specific questions? Did I answer your question? So you start with the first word on the first WordPress site that you could create. But you want to think more about it. Start writing and it'll come to you. But there's a lot of different ways of making money through producing content online. There's a lot of people before you that have made a lot of money and have been very, very successful at building blogs that people love. And I know there are a lot of people who are here at this conference today who have those type of blogs. I'm not a blogger per se, but I have a blog that people will come up to me in various parts of the country or world or wherever I'm at, and they'll say, hey, thanks a lot for that post on, whatever. So it's we all have a lot of power to produce content and to share our passions and to share our ideas and to blog. And by the way, you could also make money from that. And I think that's partly my message. Here's the fourth way. And this way, if you could figure this out, it's usually a more mature way of making money through blogs. But if you could figure this out longer term, you could build a really significant, importantly sustainable business. And it's subscriptions. So, Shoe Money, who's been a friend of mine for a bunch of years, owns a site called NextPimp, N-E-X-T-P-I-M-P. And it's a forum for Sprint ringtones. And so here's the kicker. He gives away the ringtones for free. So he doesn't make any money from the ringtones. But the whole site is written on PHP, the bulletin, not on WordPress, but on a forum software. And what that allows you to do on a forum software is it's all about user-generated content, right? So threads are created and people start talking about it. Oh man, look at this, so-and-so ringtone's available. Hey, does anybody know where this is? So it's a lot about crowdsourcing and that kind of thing, what NextPimp is about. So he had that, and it started to rank really well on search engines for like Sprint ringtone. It's a pretty big deal, right? I imagine US, but globally, he was ranked in the top 3, top 5 for that. So massive amount of traffic coming into his site. Well, all the content was meant to be free. That wasn't the business model. So he decides, probably about 4 years ago, to put a little button on his website that says, get more than you're getting, get additional value than you're getting from this. And he talks about some of the features. Get first access to whatever the most recent ringtones are. Get access to A, B, and C, whatever it is. I don't recall exactly what his value proposition was. But any of you could build this wall up, this subscription up, where you deliver premium content. So Alex, in her case, she needs to make some money. She needs to pay the bills. She's got to feed the... Do you have a cat? A dog? No. Okay. Do you have a dog? No. Okay. Does your neighbor have a dog? You've got to feed yourself. I was going to say you got to feed the cat, but you've got to make money, right? So she loves to just basically write, and she loves the fact that she has followers. She was at a NEPA BlogCon. The guy said put Google AdSense on. She's not making any money from that. She joined Pepper Jam Network, and she's making a couple dollars a month, but not enough to feed herself. But she has all these people who keep coming back to her blog. So you said, I'd give an extra 10 hours a month to provide, I don't know, consulting to other bloggers who want to make money through travel blogs and whatever. So what you do is you charge a monthly fee, so a subscription, for people to have access over the wall, to have access to the premium content. Reason why I love this subscription model, and it's a little bit more mature, is that some of the most significant technology companies of today, you know, whether you look at, for those of you that follow the tech space, whether you look at companies like Spotify or Dropbox, these are all subscription-based companies. The bigger your member base, the more money that you can make on it. A little bit more technical, but the reason I also love it, like in love with it, like seriously, subscriptions are amazing. If you guys can figure that out, you can make an awful lot of money. The reason I love it is because it's residual. It's continuity based. You could sell 3-month subscriptions, 6-month subscriptions, 12 months. Alex could sell 100 12-month subscriptions and then go on a month vacation to Hawaii because she's going to make so much money from it that she could do that. So any questions about subscriptions? None of this stuff is per se like, you know, super easy, but there are many people before us that have leveraged these tools, these monetization strategies, to make a lot of money online. You just have to try. You have to put a plan together. You can't think about it. Oh, that's what they do. No. Why should they be implementing some of these strategies to make money? Success starts with the first step. It doesn't matter in life what you're doing per se, arguably, but whether or not you can get excited about it. Get passionate about being a blogger. Don't just blog it and say, well, I don't make any money from it. There are a lot of people much less qualified, much less interesting, much less entrepreneurial, and less, aren't as positioned as well as you guys, who are making money on their blogs. So you just have to figure it out. So that's just, I think I'm getting the hook. Am I getting the hook, Carla? Open it up to questions?
No, hook not, yeah, questions.
Okay.
Questions.
So, question.
Yeah, what would you say to somebody just starting out with talking to whether it's small businesses or large businesses in the area? You were kind of giving examples of different travel businesses. It's your first time doing this. Do you go in with a report of your statistics or hits per month, or I mean, what do you do?
It's a great question, and I would say that if all of those things make your case, you know, you're going to be in a really good position. What would someone say about your blog, if that's what we're trying to monetize here, without you going into that merchant? That's what you really need to focus on before you go in. The degree to which you can get other people to make introductions to you about what you do, you know, the more likelihood that you'll end up succeeding in that meeting. Now, but yes, if you have those things, if you're generating good traffic, if you've got a lot of engagement on the site, because by the way, you know, as someone who has sat down with advertisers and what they're looking for, you know, engagement is really important. You know, just putting content out there is one thing, but what happens to the content once you post it? You know, what are some of the tools you guys are using to increase the engagement of that content? There's a lot of tools that are out there, you know, from simple, you know, social plugins to one of the companies I invested in is a company called highlighter.com, which allows you to do sort of in-text highlighting, which allows the author to engage with the reader on a more intimate level. Because there's a big difference in, you know, short form and long form content and the type of engagement you're likely to get from that. Believe it or not, it's one of the reasons social media succeeded. I mean, weren't you guys like me that when Twitter launched, you know, 4 or 5 years ago or whatever it was, 140 characters? No way. That's, you know, I need a lot more because I'm the type of guy that could just keep talking, and Carla could cut me off an hour from now. But what we've learned is that, you know what? You could actually communicate rather well in 140 characters. But the point is that there's a lot of opportunity to monetize short form content and to increase engagement on your blogs through social plugins, through short form content. So you could go in with those type of things. What I'm finding with my main startup that I'm the CEO of, Refer Local, is that local businesses are really, really interested in figuring out how to get more visibility on social. How to get more visibility on Facebook, how to get more visibility on Twitter, and that kind of thing. So you could develop your strategy around that. And one other thing is it's not about just the blog. Content online does not exist within a vacuum called the blog. That was like 4 years ago. Honestly, that's not the opportunity now. The opportunity is how you use all of these tools somewhat harmoniously to develop a following, to develop a personal brand. So it could come down to, how many, this would help. I'm not saying there's like some cutoff or something, but, how many followers, do you have on Twitter? How many people like your personal profile page on Facebook? And by the way, in terms of personal brand, you should think about at some point moving away from your personal profile page, on Facebook, the one where it's friends, how many friends do you have, to the sort of business profile page, whereby you get likes instead of friends. A couple reasons why. One is that you're able to have more than 5,000, because there's a 5,000 cap on friends on Facebook, so it allows you to get more than that. The other thing is I think people expect them to be a little bit more commercial. Again, don't ever sell anything. If you want to make a lot of money, don't ever sell anything. Just become somebody who's really passionate about what you sell, and people will buy your stuff. But so, I think you could develop a portfolio that really speaks to the value that you're going to give to an advertiser, and really get behind the personal brand. I think one of the amazing things about blogs and social media is that you don't have to be good looking, you don't have to be skinny, you don't have to have, I don't know, like perfect anything. You could just be yourself, or be, a character. That's cool, and that's valuable. And you know what? It gives you an opportunity to build value too. Social equity, or whatever you want to call it. So don't get too wrapped up in what needs to be presented. Go in there, is that a gun? Go in there, or a taser. Go in there with absolute certainty in your outcome, and be willing to close the deal even a little bit below it, if need be. And set your goals really high. One of the things that I do, by the way, just because I know this is coming to a close, so when I sold my previous company, I founded an early stage investment fund called KVJ Capital, kvjcapital.com. You guys will like the quotes that stream on the top of that, so check it out. So I did that, and then I did that for about 9 months or so, and I realized, and I made some investments. I made about 6 to 10 investments, and I loved it. But I realized that I wanted to get back into the game as an entrepreneur. So I founded a company called Refer Local, and I'm the CEO of that company. It's a local company that helps traditional media companies, so newspapers, radio stations, and television, evolve online and to make money from their readers, their listeners, and their viewers. So we work with 100-odd media companies around the country. We're in, 20 states, and that's growing quite a bit. But on the investment side, here's why I wanted to tie this together. You could ask any of the guys that I invested in, and I've invested in people here in northeastern Pennsylvania, like Epic Mobile Apps, Scranton-based company. Adam Soresko spoke earlier today. Some of you may. Anybody in here hear Adam speak? So I invested $50,000 in his company a couple years ago, and those are the guys that were on the stage in San Francisco. These guys are unbelievable. But here's one of the things, when I'm sitting down young entrepreneurs, here's what I'll say to them. And here's what I can kind of close on unless there's any additional questions. I say, what are your goals? Personal and professional. As I said, don't get too caught up in, on all of the money, blah, 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 blah. It's about passion, it's about mission, it's about excitement, it's about absolute certainty. But here's what I say to them. I'll say, so what are your goals for this particular business? How much do you think it could be worth? And do you have a blog?
Yes.
Do you make money from the blog now?
No.
If you take some of this, and by the way, we've only spent, 45 minutes together, if that. But if you went total PhD, meaning with total pig-headed discipline for the next 3 months, and learned everything you could about making money through blogs. So let's give it 3 months. On January 1st, 2013, you're going to launch whatever it is that you're going to launch. How much do you think would be realistic for you to make net profit on a monthly basis after it started to take off? Just whatever comes to your mind.
5 grand.
10 grand. Say 10 grand.
10 grand?
Why not 20?
Okay, 20 grand, 50.
So, on my life, and I'll close with this. It has everything to do with blogging and everything not to do with blogging. We become what we focus on, and our ability to get, and by the way, I mean, I don't want to go there, but your ability to set your expectations in areas that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, the ability to do that will drive more personal and professional success than you guys believe is possible. That's all I've done. When people used to say, no, you can't, but wait, I remember my father used to say to me, because I've been public speaking, for a long time, and sometimes I get paid, sometimes I don't. I remember my dad saying, why are you flying out to Chicago to speak at Search Engine Strategies? And I'd be like, I'd get frustrated, and I'd want to defend myself, and part of me would be like, you know what, screw you, I'm not even going to do this, it's just too hard. I don't know how many I've done, but many of times I've gotten paid $10,000 or more per engagement. Yeah, glad I went to Chicago. So the point is that you have to be able to see beyond that. You have to have a strategy. Your goals, you need to double them. They need to be in an area where they make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's my test of whether or not you set good goals. Make sure they're specific. Don't be stupid. Be smart. Become obsessed with what's with whatever industry you're in. And if you do that, you'll develop the personal brand. The passion will naturally come. You'll be able to walk into that advertiser that you asked me about, and they'll just see it. They'll just want to help you make your $5 or $10 or $25 or $50,000 a month. So I'm really active on social media if you guys want to continue the conversation. On Facebook, my business profile page is KBJ Capital, so facebook.com/KBJ Capital. Twitter, I'm Kris Jones com with a K, KrisJones.com. Or not dot, just com. Yeah, right here. And what else? Friend me on LinkedIn. I think I'm Internet CEO is my thing on there. What else? My email is Kris, K-R-I-S, at KrisJones.com. And that's my blog, Kris@KrisJones.com. Much more active on social media than I am on the blog, simply because short form is a lot easier to manage than long form. But every once in a while I do push something out there that's a little bit more kind of meaty, a little bit more thoughtful.